We caught up with our longtime grooming friend Graham, and he discusses with us the method of pre-grooming called land leveling.
The land leveler is based on, it's mainly a roller, and then what we put is spring tooth cultivator teeth in front of it to cut the ground a little bit. But the roller is not necessarily there to pack the ground, it's just to keep it from having any lumps sticking up. We started out with a piece of equipment that is meant for agriculture. It's called a cultipacker, but that ended up packing the ground down a little more than what the farmers really wanted. Where this is nice. It doesn't pack the ground, which makes it easier to go over when it's actually a little bit on the wet side. And it's been a win-win. The farmers are great. They appreciate it, and they have no problem with what we're doing. Well, we found over the years that by leveling out the ground where the trail's going to go, we're able to get not only the snowmobiles onto the trail earlier, but the groomers out on the trail earlier. The other factor is that it's been a lot nicer to our equipment. Our grooming equipment doesn't break down near as much because it doesn't have to chip these frozen lumps of ground off, because there's virtually no lumps of ground sticking up. So it's been a win-win. Snowmobilers ride a nicer trail earlier in the season, and we get out there and get them done without messing up the equipment. We used to cross plowed fields with the equipment like a wagon or ATV to set up trails, and the stakes would be bouncing off the wagon, where now we got a lot smoother for setting up the trail. And it's the guys that do the grooming are the ones that do the land leveling, and they have a good feel for where the trail was the year before, and they have a different frame of mind as to how they want the trail. When you're staking, you just want to get them stakes in, get from here to there. Where when the guy's land leveling, he puts them long sweeps into the fields instead of having sharp corners. Well, first of all, a lot of times the landowner tells us where we can and can't go. So we try to work with the landowner to cross a field and make our corners as gradual as possible. We know people don't like to slow down and speed up a lot because they have to do it often enough for our road crossings. But if we can make the trail as gradual as possible, they can coast and ride much easier, and they don't rough up the trail near as much, because when they're breaking into corners, it's hard to keep a corner smooth through the winter. People don't mind letting off on the throttle a little bit to make it from point A to point B, but when they brake and throttle, it turns into a bit of a snowcross track for some. And it also takes us 1 or 2% of the people to ride the trails hard, and it makes our job a lot tougher. When I first started grooming, we had the problem where everybody wanted to go around the edge of the field, and some of the landowners actually wanted us to stay to the edge of the field, and then you make that 90-degree corner and to get to where you want to go. Well, why go in one direction turn when you can just cut across a field and do less damage? It not only does less damage, but it made it a lot easier for us grooming. So even in areas where it wasn't a 90-degree or going around the outside of the field, we adopted all of our trail system to make our corners more gradual, to make it much easier to maintain.
Since we borrow the land from farmers, the rotation of crops also dictates where Graham can set up the trails.
Sometimes we put the stakes in certain places because of a crop that could be planted underneath. Winter wheat is very susceptible to snowmobile trails. We can kill the wheat, and if we do that too many times, we're going to lose permission to cross that person's field if we keep killing his crop. And what we do is we compensate the landowner. It costs us money, so that permit dollar's coming right off the trail again. So we do what we can to keep our costs as low as we can. So we'd really appreciate if snowmobilers just stay between the stakes, because that's where the trail is. Over the years, I have groomed over plowed fields, and it's a nightmare. And now going over this way, it's just been such a pleasure. And actually what we're finding more so than anything is snowmobiles are actually getting out in the trail. Even after 2 or 3 inches of snow, they're able to ride on the trail. Not great, but it's at least gets that out of their system a little bit. We had a little bit of a snowfall last week, and I think I was the first one to get out my snowmobile and get out there and give it a ride, because I knew where I could go and where I couldn't go. But definitely once I get into this piece of equipment, the season's just around the corner.